Charles back on the Bossman show. Stanford Cardinal head coach David Shaw. You see him on the NFL Network as well. First round of the draft. Coach, how things with you and your family out there in Stanford, man?
Everything's going really well. We're opening back up a little bit. Got still practicing spring practice, and things are getting better, and kids are getting older, but we're having a great time.
Now, Coach, I'm asking his coach, how was it for you guys last year, man? All this COVID, you couldn't practice. California was pretty much shut down, playing six games late in the season there. Just how was that for you and your staff and your young men as well, Coach?
It was very difficult, but obviously we've got a great staff and some great young men on our team. And I say that obviously because what we had to go through, a lot of teams might not have made it. A lot of teams might not have been able to finish like we did with a 4-game win streak through all the difficult things. I mean, we brought them out over the summer, then we sent them back home, then we pushed the season back, then we brought them out and we're testing for COVID 9 times a week with all these restrictions. And then we couldn't even practice in our own practice field for training camp. We had to practice at high school. Then we were brought back and we started the season. Then we got kicked out of our county, had to play the last 3 road games truly on the road and without coming back home at all. So all that stuff was difficult, but when you have good people around you, we find a way to find the positives and work together. And like I said, we finished on a 4-game win streak and feeling good about what we accomplished last year.
No doubt, Coach. And speaking of that, Coach, how are you using this spring here, Coach, to get guys, kind of evaluate guys some more and see what you have going to the fall here real soon?
Yeah, especially for those guys that are sophomores now, they didn't get a spring football last year. They didn't get summer training, a real summer training session last year, and an abbreviated season. So now to have a true winter conditioning, to have a true spring football, some of these guys, not just the freshmen, but these sophomores, they've missed so much football in the last year. This has been great to see them start to really, really pick up and truly compete. So we got another week left, and I'm excited about where our guys are right now.
And Coach, speaking of that camaraderie, when you're not around each other, you kind of quarantine in a bubble. You can't have that same one, that sync, that one is that you want to have as a team. So talk about that this spring, having guys around each other, be able to get on the field and practice and see these guys compete as one Stanford brand, the Cardinal man together. Because when you separated like you were this past season, it's hard to have that the camaraderie that you want to fight those adversity together.
Absolutely. I mean, football is so many things, right? It's a revealer when things get hard. It's all these things, but to me, the biggest thing it's the best team sport, and you have to be together. And it's not just about practice. It's about being around each other. Like you said, it's about that camaraderie. It's about building trust. Yes, I can be great and I can do my job, but if I don't trust you to do your job, now I become hesitant. So that whole thing of practicing together, being around each other, trusting each other, leaning on each other is a big part of team sports in general, but especially football.
Most definitely, Coach. And Coach, your quarterback, Davis Mills, got drafted by the Houston Texans. Tell us about Davis, and going to Houston for me, Coach, for Davis is a good spot because it's kind of a wild card. You know, he may play, he may not play, but still, you know, that situation in Houston is kind of like, wait, if I'm going to be somewhere, I have a chance here to play, probably because the main guy wants to leave.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about being in the eye of the storm, right? There's all kinds of things going on, and the Deshaun Watson situation, and new coaching staff, and all kinds of things going on. But Davis Mills is one of those guys. He's pretty steady. He's very serious. He's not going to be swayed by all the things going around. So I believe he's going to have a chance to go in there if Deshaun Watson isn't there. And have a chance to compete for that job, and I know he's going to be ready for it.
And I think last year, Coach prepared him for it because he's all their hard work. He missed that first game of the year, so Davis can deal with some adversity now, and coming back and playing shortened season again and competing and putting out good film still, doing what he had to do. And Coach, I'm like, Davis is in a great spot. Last year for me showed him a lot about what he's going into in Houston right now.
There's no question. And you can go back to playing in the state championship game in Georgia and getting hurt in that state championship game and rehabbing and coming back and having a couple of bumps and bruises and injuries at Stanford too, and coming back from those. And even through all those difficult times, he was never down. He never doubted himself. He never had any of those woe is me moments. He just looked at it as the next challenge. And for him right now, this is the next challenge. Going into Houston, learning the offense, getting a chance to compete. and show what he has the God-given ability to do.
And coach, Falcons drafted one of their players, Drew Dahlman, here in Atlanta. So tell us about this lineman here. He's going to help protect Matty Ice and give Julio and Kyle Pitts some time to get out down the field, hopefully there.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think Drew's going to be great. Excuse me. He's in the mold of an Alex Mack, right? Where Alex Mack may be a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying he's going to the Hall of Fame, but that guy that's maybe a little bit undersized, and you worry about all those things until you see him play. And the film is outstanding. He is explosive. He is fast. He is physical. I thought for the last 2 years he was the best center in our conference, and I think everybody finally saw it this year that he was the all conference center. And he's got a chance to play at the next level. Great in the zone schemes, which I know Atlanta does a great job of, and at the same time, really good in pass protection. So hopefully it won't be too long until you see him out there.
Now, Coach, did you think the Falcons should have drafted a quarterback or go with Kyle Pitts? Because I'm thinking of Pitts with Ridley and Julio. You got to pick who you're going to double. Somebody's going to be one-on-one on that backside. It's just so – I feel like it's good, but Matt is getting a little older. So do you find his backup, hoping it will never be a forever again, or do you go with a explosive guy like Kyle Pitts who can kind of play that Antonio Gates, Jimmy Graham role there?
So I'm a football coach, and I was an NFL coach, and I always say, you think 1 year at a time as a coach. You don't think about the future. You got Matty Ice for hopefully a couple more years. Hey, give him some more weapons. I thought what he did on the field last year at his age was still phenomenal. And now give him somebody that is just a beast. And I don't know about once in a lifetime, once in a generation. I don't know about that stuff. But I do know, to me, he was Kyle Pitts, one of the top 2 players in this year's draft. And if you don't need a quarterback and you got this guy there staring you in the face, you got to take him. And I think to be 6'5.5" or whatever he was and 240 something pounds and run a 4.40, I mean, that's just scary stuff. That's scary stuff. So I think the whole stadium's going to be excited every single game because you got 3 guys out there and a borderline Hall of Fame quarterback with some really that's a perennial Pro Bowl quarterback. You give them those kind of weapons, you're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I can only imagine safeties, linebackers having to think about guarding Mr. Pitts or putting a nickel on him. He's any way you put him, Coach, matchup nightmare.
Matchup nightmares, and I'm not calling plays there, but if I was, man, those 4 verticals going to look good every single week.
Yes, indeed, Coach. I'm with you there, man. I'm with you there because Atlanta, we can put up points, Coach. We got to stop somebody in the fourth quarter. That's our biggest thing. I hope Dean Pease. I love his scheme, Coach. His disguises. It looks like it's gonna be all out blitz backs, drops out in the cover 2, cover 3, or cover 4. So I love his schemes. Sending them blitzes gonna come off the edge. And I'm hoping Mr. Fowler and Grady, Jerry, and those guys can cause trouble and get us back going in the South, there, Coach.
Absolutely. Like I said, I like their scheme too, and I think they've got the personnel. If they can stay healthy, they got a chance to make some hay.
And, Coach, you have 5 guys drafted, including Davis and Drew, 3 other guys, and 5 undrafted free agents. Tell us about how happy you are to see 10 of your young men be on NFL rosters right now. And let's talk about the standard of Stanford Cardinal in the NFL, how you guys coached by you, been in the NFL, set them up for success on the next level there.
Absolutely. And we try to convince guys in the recruiting process that our place is special. I think it's the only place in America where you can get not just a top 10, but a top 7, top 5 education in America and have a chance to go to the NFL. And we lead the Pac-12 in NFL attendees or people on NFL teams, which a lot of people don't know about that, right? They think, oh, it's got to be USC or UCLA or Washington. No, it's Stanford. We got the most guys in the NFL in our conference. And we're having them walk away with outstanding degrees. Of those 10 guys, I believe 8 of those guys have their Stanford degrees. So we're not putting out guys that haven't even graduated. These guys have graduated, and they're ready for the NFL, and they're ready for life.
Most definitely, Coach. Let me ask you this, man. You work for the NFL Network on the first round. And let me ask you about how was that process for you preparing for the draft, scouting all these guys to get ready to be on stage with Rich and Charles Davis and Daniel Jeremiah and those guys? How was that process for you, Coach? And how fun is it for you to do that every year?
It's a lot of fun. Thankfully, they take care of me, right? I don't have everything on my plate like those guys do. Those guys are professionals. I just do. I study a couple of guys a day. You know, for the month leading up to it, two or three a day. Make my notes. I talk to Daniel Jeremiah a lot about what he sees, and he and I work together at the Baltimore Ravens, so we know each other really well. Charles Davis actually worked at Stanford when I was a Stanford student, so
Oh
I've known
wow.
these two guys for a long time. And Rich is the best in the business, so it's really easy for me whenever I'm going to talk about a guy. I know I only have 15, maybe 30 seconds tops, so I have a couple of points on each guy that's going in the first round, and it's really just a blast. All these NFL cities have really shown out over the last couple of years. I'm excited about Vegas next year. I know they're going to go crazy at Vegas next year. So hopefully we don't have to wear masks. Hopefully we can be all together. But that should be a lot of fun.
Well, I was in Nashville. It was fun for me in Nashville, Coach. I enjoyed Nashville a lot. The barbecue, because Coach, I went to school there at Tennessee State, so I know it very well. So it's like a home game for me. Traveling up to Nashville, it was really fun. How's that barbecue smell, Coach, out on Broadway? How fun was that for you guys, man?
Well, there's pretty much a consensus that Nashville kind of set the bar a couple of years ago. Nashville kind of blew the top off. Just the whole street, and I probably had barbecue twice a day for like 3 days, and it was awesome. It was awesome, and even to have that many people and that quarantine kind of an area, not quarantine, but sectioned off area, no problems, no fights. Everybody was in a great mood. I mean, it was just an outstanding weekend there in Tennessee.
And Coach, you all had to deal with the Aaron Rodgers story breaking on draft night. And Coach, for me, I felt bad for young men who this is like their biggest moment in their lives, right? And it's overshadowed by Aaron Rodgers news. But Coach, this is how I feel, Coach. When you draft Jordan Love with a 1 and a 4 for Jordan Love, when you give a quarterback Aaron Rodgers, you should know it's gonna go south eventually, Coach. A-Rod, man. Help give this guy some weapons with Devontae Adams and Tunyon and those guys. Don't get him a backup when the guy's still at the top of his game, Coach.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the conversation, right? Because we just had it about Atlanta with Matty Ice, and you have to prepare for the future, but kind of like what Atlanta did. Well, let's prepare for the future a little bit later. Let's give this guy some more weapons so we can be great. And once again, so many things are just about relationships, right? It's not just about what they do and contract status and all those things. It's really about having an open dialogue between a Hall of Fame player and one of the best organizations in sports. Just being able to get back on the same page. Hopefully they can rectify everything and go back out, because he was awesome last year. And we know if he stays there and they do have some weapons there, hopefully he'll be awesome again and be that Hall of Fame player that we know that he's capable of being.
And Coach, I was glad that Lance went to San Francisco because I think Kyle's system, the outside zone system for Trey Lance, I think it'll be good for him. I'm like, Mac Jones is like, you kind of know who he kind of is, but I feel like Trey Lance could be something beyond Mac Jones. I'm like, Kyle Shanahan he shocked me, but I'm glad he took Trey Lance because I feel like that system that Kyle runs, Coach, the run game is really great. But off that play action pass, the run game with his speed going off the back end on the bootlegs, I love Trey Lance and his system, Coach. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's a great fit, and especially since they have Jimmy G. Once again, here's another place that has an entrenched quarterback, and Trey was probably maybe the highest ceiling of the group, but also the most raw of that top group. So he's going to take a little bit of time. So it's just the perfect situation that Jimmy knows he's the guy, he's the starter. He took him to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Now Trey's coming in, and I would love to see Trey kind of play some kind of a role in each game plan, much like the New Orleans Saints did with their young athletic slash quarterback. That would be great because I do think eventually he's going to be a perfect fit. But the Niners got a lot of weapons, and they just added another one that can come in and really affect the game as a runner and as a passer.
And Coach, I was shocked that Justin Fields went to the Bears because the Bears are kind of that year where Matt Nagy and Mr. Pace have to win this year. You go up there, make that bold move for Mr. Fields, the Georgia guy, got a Kennesaw there. I'm like, okay, hey man, security here. Oh, he's gonna play real soon because QB1, he won't be QB1 very long, Coach. If you ask me.
Yeah, that was fun, but I'm excited for those guys. I think they've done a good job in Chicago. I mean, everybody was down on them last year. They had a losing streak in the middle of the year, and they finished really, really strong and made the playoffs. And I give that staff a lot of credit. And they had a chance to get a guy that may be a difference maker at quarterback, and they were able to move up and get him. And now, people forget too, Matt Nagy was the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs when they took Patrick Mahomes. And I'm sure he's looking at Fields and saying, man, we could have a similar thing here where if we can splice this guy in a little bit and get him ready, now we have a guy that can throw the long ball. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's extremely athletic. He's very accomplished and has a great mentality and great leader. Man, now he might be QB1 sooner than later, but I think it was a great move and good for the franchise. And I'm excited to see that young man play.
Two more for you, Coach. The Pac-12 coach is the new commissioner now, Coach. Tell us about George and what's his vision for your conference going forward.
That's the question, isn't it? I have no idea. I haven't met him yet. But I'm curious to see what happens on our conference. We got a big TV contract that's about to be up, and I mean that's really where it is for our conference to really close the gap between where we are and where the other conferences are as far as their ability to have these TV contracts, not just the monetary value, but the measure of control. Like our last TV contract gave most of the control to the TV to the TV decision makers, and we're playing a lot of games at 7:30 at night, 8 o'clock at night on the West Coast, and people on the East Coast are falling asleep at halftime. So hopefully we can have some more balance to our schedule, as well as have a better financial intake like the rest of the schools in the Big Five conferences.
And Coach, last one for you. During the quarantine, Coach, what was your favorite hobby with your family, your wife, and your children during the quarantine when you was kind of home to yourself? What was kind of your thing that you kind of picked up on, or you had all that time on your hands out there?
Yeah, it was my wife's idea, and it was ended up being the best thing for us, which is we'd go on a sunset walk every evening after dinner. Just us getting out. I mean, you can only watch TV so long. You only be on your devices, your phones, your iPads for so long, and so once a day, without being able to see other people and do things together with other people, we would just go for a walk. We'd go for half hour, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour walk, bring the dog, the kids play games and do stuff. And it was like a good release every day just to be outside and not be locked in that house together.
Yeah, because Coach, you guys were really locked down in California. Here in Georgia, it was like wide open after 3 weeks. So it's like you guys were really shut down out there, Coach. COVID, what? In Georgia? We don't believe in COVID in Georgia, obviously.
That's funny.
Coach, thank you for your time today, Coach. We'll do this again with you real soon. Be blessed, Coach. I enjoy your work on the NFL Network. I enjoy watching your team play. You guys always play well and represent Stanford in the utmost fashion, Coach. Thank you again for coming on the show. I'll do this again with you real soon, Coach.
Sounds good. Good talking to you.
Coach, be blessed now.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye now.